Another email. I would like to know, in fact, I simply must know if Mr. Christopher Hitchens considers himself a happy person. Which among alcohol's many charms is that which most appeals to him? And if drink has played any role in saving him from Jesus in the fashion that Jesus saves others from drink?
Well, my favorite miracle in the New Testament is, of course, the one at Cana, which is a tribute, actually, to a thing that's very often overlooked, which is the influence of Hellenism and the Greek style in Palestine in those days. I mean, the tributes paid to wine. That's what the Passover Seder is borrowed from the Platonic Symposium. Wisdom and happiness are supposed to come to you when you're lying comfortably around with a glass of wine. It is one of the very, very, very few charms of Christianity that it doesn't repudiate that. A lot of its Protestant adherents do, of course, and of course the Muslims do. But I've often asked myself if happiness is what I'm interested in. I mean, if it's what I want, I think I'd rather say I'm looking for satisfaction rather than happiness. And whenever you ask if you're happy, as you probably know if you've ever tried it, you're about to make the discovery that perhaps not as much as you thought you were, or you wouldn't be asking. The mind is on such a knife edge. I don't think I can say much more. I'd have to say so much more than that if I've said any more, so I'll stop. Except for, as for the drink, I don't know why the word is out, you know, that I sort of can't manage without a glass in hand. I can take a cocktail if I have to, and I think it's certainly very rude to refuse it if it's offered. And I think that food tastes much better with wine. I think a meal without wine is like a day without sunshine. But I live in Washington, D.C., where 2 glasses of white wine at lunch would be considered an unbelievable debauch. So it doesn't take much to get a reputation for being a boozer around these parts.
Back to the New Yorker profile
Yes.
from last year. Your wife said to the author of this, Blue said to me once in a while it seems like he might be drunk. Aside from that, even though he's obviously an alcoholic, he functions at a really high level and doesn't act like a drunk. Again, this is coming from your wife. So the only reason it's a bad thing is it's taking out his liver, presumably. It would be a drag for Henry Kissinger to live to 100 and Christopher to keel over next year. Hitchens, too, brought up the topic of alcohol before I did, the writer. You're going to want to talk about this, he said, not wrongly, pointing at his glass. A writer likes a cooperative subject, but it can be disrupting to make a portrait in the shadow of a gigantic self-portrait. He was not a piss artist, he explained, someone who can't get going without a load of beer, who's a drunk, overconfident, and flushed. I can't bear that. He went on, I know what I'm doing with it, and I can time it. It's a self-medicating thing. It says also that when Mel Gibson was arrested, your comment was, and he blew a .12 in the breathalyzer, that's as sober as you'd ever want to be.
Yes, charming. My wife doesn't touch the stuff, so she doesn't know anything about alcohol at all. And my doctor just says that either people are slandering me or I've got something miraculous going on with my liver, because he says it oughtn't to be true how good it is. The thought, though, that Carol puts in about it would be terrible to be outlived by Kissinger or others for any reason at all is very much with me. So what I really need to do is lose some weight. As you can, I'm sure, and all your audience can see, I've been getting away with murder for years, but just not taking any exercise at all. I think that's where I ought to probably haul up my slacks a bit.
Do you consider yourself an alcoholic?
No. No. I mean,
Have you had a
I'm not
drink
even
yet
sure.
today?
I'm not even sure there is such a thing. That may be all sort of cultish hooey, the Al-Anon and Alcoholics Anonymous stuff. If I see someone, lying on the street, smelling and unable to move, and so I'm not sure that person's an alcoholic. They may be trying to drink themselves to death, or be on the way towards doing so. If I was told I couldn't have a drink for the rest of today, I would feel slightly uncomfortable. But it wouldn't be at all difficult for me to get through it, or indeed for the rest of the week. I remember a very annoying week in Libya once, where I hadn't been able to smuggle any booze in, and couldn't get any homemade brew from the Palestinians there, as I had been able to Perusia. And that's a week I wouldn't terrifically want to go through again.
Have you had a drink today?
No.
Next call for Christopher Hitchens, Huntersville, North Carolina.
Hello?
You're on the
No,
air.
but I would have done if it wasn't for you. It's already 3 o'clock. I would have had one before lunch, yes.